Summer 1997. In a quiet office in Newport, Oregon, ocean scientists are reviewing audio from a network of underwater microphones scattered across the Pacific. Hydrophones the Navy once used to hunt Soviet submarines. Most days, the recordings are routine, whale calls, ship engines, the grumble of distant earthquakes. Then, on the printout, an analyst sees a curve that stops him cold. A sound, rising, powerful, about a minute long. It doesn't match ships. It doesn't match quakes. And when they speed the tape up 16 times to make it audible to human ears, it goes, bloop. Cute name. Less cute fact. The sound was picked up by sensors nearly 5,000 kilometers apart. For one noise to reach microphones on opposite sides of an ocean, it has to be one of the loudest sounds ever recorded on Earth. This is the bloop, the sound that made the internet believe for 15 glorious years that something enormous was alive down there. To understand the panic and the fun, you need one comparison. The loudest animal on Earth is the blue whale. Its calls can cross entire ocean basins. Nothing alive outshouts a blue whale. Though bloop was louder, not slightly louder, dramatically louder, and its sonic character, that rising, organic sweep, looked, to many ears, uncomfortably biological.
The frequency sweep resembled what living things produce. That's what got everyone. If it was an animal, it would have to be several times bigger than a blue whale. And there is nothing like that in any textbook we own.
An animal bigger than the biggest animal that has ever existed. That's the door the bloop opened, and the internet sprinted through it. Because then someone checked the coordinates. The bloop came from roughly 50 degrees south, 100 degrees west, the empty South Pacific, near the most remote point in the world's oceans. A place so isolated that space agencies use it as a graveyard for old spacecraft. And in 1928, 70 years before the bloop, the horror writer H.P. Lovecraft had placed his fictional sunken city of Arlae, prison of the sleeping monster god Cthulhu, at almost the same spot. An impossible roar from the remotest water on Earth, a few hundred miles from where fiction's most famous sea monster was buried by an author who died in 1937. You could not design a better internet mystery in a lab. So for years, the bloop lived a double life. Marine biologists quietly said we don't know. The internet loudly said Cthulhu. And NOAA scientists kept listening. Because the bloop wasn't alone. The same hydrophones caught other unexplained sounds, and their declassified names read like a horror anthology. Julia. Dre. Slow down. Upsweep. An ocean full of noises nobody ordered. The answer, when it came, arrived from the coldest place on Earth. As researchers planted hydrophones closer and closer to Antarctica, they kept recording sounds with the bloop's exact signature, thousands of them.
They're icequakes. When a crack rips through an ice shelf, or an iceberg tears itself off a glacier, the fracture radiates an immense low-frequency pulse through the water. Match the spectrograms side by side with the bloop and it's the same animal. Except it's not an animal. It's ice.
The bloop was the sound of ice the size of a city breaking, a continent cracking its knuckles, loud enough to cross the Pacific, because icequakes are among the loudest natural events in the ocean. So, mystery solved. Officially, formally, spectrogram matched solved. The monster was a glacier, and yet, two things refused to sit quietly. Thing one, think about what the answer actually says. A single crack in Antarctic ice outshouted every living thing on the planet and was heard 5,000 kilometers away. The boring explanation is that the ice at the bottom of the world is breaking loudly enough for the whole ocean to hear it. That's not boring. That's a warning shot. Thing two, the bloop's cousins. Julia explained, probably ice. Train, probably ice. But upsweep, a sound that has repeated seasonally since 1991 from a volcanic region of the Pacific, is still not fully pinned down. The ocean kept some of its homework. And the deeper truth the Bloop exposed is genuinely humbling. We have mapped more of the moon than the seafloor. More than 80% of our own ocean has never been seen by human eyes. We monitor it through a few dozen microphones. Between those microphones lie gaps the size of continents. If something enormous did live down there, a handful of hydrophones is exactly the kind of net it could swim through forever. That's not a claim. Blue whales need to surface. A bigger animal would leave bodies, bones, calves, carcasses on beaches. The Cthulhu-sized creature almost certainly isn't there. Almost. But the Bloop earned its legend honestly. For 15 years, the correct scientific answer to what made the loudest organic sounding NOAA's ever recorded was a shrug. The ocean is still allowed to do that to us. That's the real story. Somewhere off Antarctica, right now, the ice is talking again. Louder every decade. We named the first shout Bloop, laughed about sea monsters, and only later realized what it was actually saying. Missed our last one. Sponge divers pulled a 2,000-year-old computer out of a shipwreck. Gears, eclipse dials, and an Olympics reminder included. Cards on screen. Next time 1587. 115 English colonists vanish from an island in the New World, leaving their houses carefully dismantled and one word carved on a post: Croatoan. America's oldest missing persons case. Bloop. Keep listening to the deep. And subscribe. We're louder than a blue whale, but only barely.